some applause.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for those who are actually here this morning, and we're going to have a good time today. I want to first of all thank Ted and Ray and the team at Beckett for the opportunity to come and share with you today. It is a great day to be a part of our industry. And, it's not just because of the great products, it's not just because of the strong economy, it's not just because of the great athletes that we get to represent. It's because of the people in this room and our peers across the country who do a great job promoting the things that we love in this hobby. And even if and when things slow down, this industry will be filled with more opportunities than any of us can get to. I just checked, we've got 122, I believe, business owners here this year, which is awesome. Applaud yourself, that's awesome. We're up 50% from last year. Just a sign of the growth in our industry right now. How many business owners here love the fact, I've had this talk with many of you before, you love the fact that you get to work 60 to 80 hours a week because you choose to for yourself in this industry rather than receiving a paycheck from someone else and only working 40 hours a week. Yeah. I'm not excited about that. I certainly am. Well, this morning I want to share, there's a number of things. I've changed the speech many times since Ted and I first talked about it national. But I've tried to narrow down to a couple of broad topics. And the first one is embrace the memories. And for the first time ever in the industry, I'm going to share with you how I actually got into this industry as a kid and how I became a collector. And I hope somewhere in the midst of this, it'll rekindle your passion and remind you of what it's like being on the other side as a collector and not just a shop owner, not just a breaker, not just as a business owner. But first of all, I want to take you back 45 years. 45 years before I ever opened my first pack of cards. 45 years ago, I started first grade, and I hated it with a passion. I hated the building, I hated the teachers, I didn't really like my classmates that much. I would do anything to get out of going to school, and literally when I would get to school, I would plop down on the way to the classroom, sit down in the hallway, take my shoes and socks off, and tell anyone who would listen, my feet itch, I can't go to class. And I would come up with any reason to avoid going into the classroom. And so my school was so generous and thought so much of me and wanted me to enjoy first grade that they gave me the opportunity to come back and experience again the next year. So yes, I was a first grade flunky, believe it or not. But during my second year in first grade, something wonderful happened. I discovered trading cards. And this was now 1976. The second half of the school year was 1976. And that year I started collecting, and my mom found it to be motivation for me to get good grades. And so she would buy packs of trading cards and hide them in her top dresser drawer. And anytime I had report cards or I would get a good grade on I don't know what test I had first grade, what the second grade. But whatever it was, she would reward me with packs of cards. So in 1976, I collected anything she would let me buy. We would take our stops at the local corner grocery store. And I look back on that year, I remember I had cards from all four sports that Topps was making at the time. Marvel superhero stickers, King Kong, Welcome Back Kotter, lots of Charlie's Angels, and one of the greatest TV shows of all time, Happy Days. Can I get a thumbs up on that one? Some of you get that joke. My generation gets that. All right, hey. And I loved my weekly trip to the grocery store with my mom because I could go in each week and get a box of Kellogg's cereal with what? 3D trading card. That's right. But even more importantly, I could go visit my favorite area of the store, which was the Hostess display, loaded with nutritious cakes, snack cakes like Suzy Q's and Ho-Ho's and King Don's and Twinkies. And what came on the back of those boxes? Not one, not two, not three trading cards. And so every week I would go, I was 7 years old, and you could let your 7-year-old roam around then. And so every week, as soon as we get in the store, I'd head over to the Hostess snack display, and I would start looking through the boxes. because even as a 7-year-old, I had learned about building a set. And so, for those who collected these and know them well, there was 3 cards on the back of each panel. There were 3 cards in a panel on the back of the boxes. And so I was always trying to find panels that I didn't have yet for my set. Sadly, sometimes week after week I would go and I would see the same panels over and over, and I would just have to get duplicates. But finally, there came this magical week. I walked into the store, and there were 9 different boxes that week with cards that I didn't have yet. 27 cards I could add to my collection. I was so excited. So what did I do? As a 7-year-old, I stack up the boxes, carry them all across, find my mom on the other side of the grocery store, unceremoniously drop them into her shopping cart for her to say, "You are not getting 9 boxes of snack cakes." I was already a salesman at this time, so I said, "Mom, rest assured." I don't know that I said rest assured, but I said, "Mom, it's fine. Trust me. I promise I will eat all 9 boxes this week. You have nothing to worry about." It didn't work. So then I got angry. I said, either I get all 9 boxes or I'm not getting any of them. So guess who went home with no sports cards that week? But somewhere inside, I vowed that I would never again get out-negotiated when it came to buying sports cards. You know, my passion continued to grow. Again, it started as a 7-year-old. Throughout the late 70s, I traded with my neighborhood friends, and I remember ordering my first supplies from a company called Den's Collector's Den. Anybody remember them? Denny Eggs. Partnered with a Dr. James Beckett to write the first Ford Americana price guide back in the 70s. I still remember receiving my first album and pages, and I continued to collect and trade with friends. In 1981, if I remember correctly, I walked into my very first sports card store. I was on vacation with my parents, and my mom was going grocery shopping, and right next door there was a baseball card store, and I was like, this is the coolest place ever. I didn't think these kind of stores existed. I was like, how amazing you can walk into a store, I don't know how big it was, 500-600 square feet, and it's nothing but trading cards. Like, this has got to be the coolest profession ever for somebody to get to actually do this for a living. So, my parents were like, we're going to the beach. I'm like, can I just stay here? This is just awesome. And so that one visit opened up a whole new world to me, because they had, before Beckett ever had a monthly publication, there was Baseball Hobby News. Some of you remember it, Baseball Hobby News, like a newspaper. And I started reading it, and there was advertisements for trading cards, and I started just getting educated and soaking in information. And then by the next year, my dad in 1982 took me to my first card show, and that was incredible. And I still remember my big purchase was an 82 Topps traded set. So I had pretty good foresight on that one. I actually bought one in 1982. And the hobby just continued to grow for me. Admittedly, in the mid-'80s, I found that dating was more important than cards in high school. But even when I wasn't seriously collecting, I was buying boxes and putting them up and just saving them, because I thought they were a good investment even then. The hobby, the baseball card boom, for those of you around and know that one of the craziest booms we saw in the industry was started in the mid-'80s up through the early '90s, and in the late '80s, we saw one of the most monumental turning points in our industry, because the hobby was so hot that some of us, actually started buying something other than baseball cards. And I still remember being the laughingstock in an Atlanta show, I believe it was 1988, because I had spent a whopping $150 on a gem mint set of 86 clear basketball cards with stickers. And everyone asked me, "What are you smoking, Joe? Basketball cards will never be in demand." And so, thankfully, I had a little foresight then, and don't know that I always had such foresight, because I also remember the same year, there was an Atlanta show with Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Duke Snyder, signing autographs, but I spent all my money buying up 87 Fleer Will Clark rookies instead. Got 0 autographs, but still have a bunch of those rookies. But by the time I was a sophomore in college, I was attending shows all over the Southeast, and even promoting them in 2 different cities. Now, I did have other jobs then. You see, in college, I had a very influential job with the largest newspaper in Georgia, the Atlanta Constitution. I was a delivery boy, making 5 cents, a whopping 5 cents per newspaper that I delivered all over our college campus. And so during that time, I came to realize that selling sports cards was a little bit more fun than that. And so as I prepared to graduate from college, I was ready to, I'd been offered a job with Finish Line Sporting Goods to enter their management training program. And the day before I was going to sign my contract with them, a providential opportunity came my way, and a friend that I had done shows with throughout college, who graduated before me, he was working at another card store, and that owner had decided to close, and he said, hey, we can, buy his business. The showcase was already set up. We've already been in business 6 months. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. I look back and see we had everything going for us. I mean, it was a lousy location. Between us, I think we had maybe $1,000 total between us when we started the business. We had very little inventory, no customer base, no direct accounts, didn't even know what a distributor was at the time, no internet, but we had a dream. Because it had been my dream for a long time to own a sports card business. And within a year, my partner's dream kind of faded because he left to go work somewhere else. And so I bought him out officially a few years later because I really believed in the potential in this hobby and still do. And I believe literally it was something I was called to do with my life. And, I have been through ups and downs in the hobby, but I still believe in the enormous potential we have. I've had times where I almost threw in the towel. I've had times where I looked for a way out, but I've also had times where I've been greatly rewarded for taking some risks and know the joy of seeing the fruit of your labor. One of the biggest breakthroughs, as I look back over nearly 30 years now in the hobby, one of the biggest breakthroughs in our business, as I shared yesterday, was when I, as the president of our company, started shifting our focus more away from how we could sell more to how we could serve more. I very much believe in the biblical principle of servanthood and serving others, and we have tried to take that to every level we can in our business. We started offering grading services to customers over 20 years ago. We were one of the first people who ever introduced an eBay consignment program in the late 90s. And we continue, right now we've just signed a deal to start promoting some shows in our area to bring in collectors. It's actually like walking distance from our store. We've got an opportunity to start hosting shows there for collectors because as me and Mike Pruden and I were sharing yesterday, both of us kind of have that same vision of being the central hub for collectors in our area, which I encourage all of you as shop owners to do. Make yourselves the center of collecting for your community. Over the last 28 years, since we started in 1991, our company has grown from renting a 500 square foot space through multiple upgrades to last year, after 8 long months of prayer and negotiation, we were able to buy our own 10,000 foot 3-story building, and we finally have the room to do everything we want to do. Now I have 13 employees who handle multiple aspects of the business, but inside, I'm still that 7-year-old kid who gets excited when a new collection comes in the door, and I'm that shop owner who wants his customers to have the same experience I did the first time I walked into a store. I want them to be in shock and awe at all the cool stuff they see, and I want to be a blessing to kids of all ages, from the youngest to the oldest. Kids at heart, 80-year-old kids who still come in the door and still collect. Recently I bought out a storage shed, as I've shared with some of you, and there was 7 truckloads of stuff, and I kind of bought it blind. It was kind of like, I got there, and it was kind of like, if you want to do this deal or not. I didn't really have time to look through a lot of it, but I was like, okay, let's do it. I gave him the money, and after 3 days of going through this stuff, I discovered some late 70s wax and early 80s wax, and I felt like a kid all over again because those were my first years in collecting. There was even some 79 Tops wax trays. They're really cool. They're really cool. Brought back a lot of memories. And I've just been so blessed with this industry. And the reason that I've shared a tiny piece of my story this morning is because every one of you, especially shop owners, and even those of you who are breakers online, all of you have a story. And one of the most important things you can do is find ways to relate to your customers. Imagine if you as a shop owner go back and you record a 10-minute video and you push it on your Facebook, you push it on your YouTube, telling your customers how you got into the hobby and how you're a collector at heart and why you have a passion for what you do every day. Then suddenly you're not just the guy or the gal sitting behind the register. You have immediate, you've related with your customers on a whole new level, and they know that you understand them. Because one of the things we get wrong sometimes, and myself included, is I get so caught up being a business owner and worried about paying the taxes and employees and this and that and allocations and this and that in the order, is I forget the joy that I have in this hobby, and I forget to express that and show that to others. And so I encourage all of you, share your story. Share your story. Let people know what your passion is. Let them know why you love this hobby. We are the greatest hobby on the face of the earth. I collect vintage comics. I collect old toys. I collect other stuff. There's no hobby greater than this one. I know a lot about other fields. This is the greatest hobby on the face of the earth. We need to let people know that. All right, so I've spent a little time sharing what I call embrace the memories. But I want to move on to embracing the moment. Embracing the moment. And what I mean by that, this moment in time we have. We are riding a historic tidal wave in our industry right now. And there are enormous opportunities available to us in the industry right now that I encourage each of you to take advantage of. And I love forward thinkers. I got to hang out with Dennis last night for Triple Play and Ryan from Burbank, and I was talking to Steve this morning from All Star. As shop owners, one of our biggest challenges is always there's more opportunities than we can ever get to. And how do we prioritize? And that's one of our biggest challenges is we see there's so many things we can get to. And if you've reached a point in your business where you don't know, well, I just don't really see the opportunities out there, come talk to me. Talk to one of us. We would love to share ideas with you and get them from you. All right, let me back up here. When it comes to embracing the moment, embracing opportunities, I want to talk to you about something I experienced at the National this year. I've seen it coming for the last 2 to 3 years, and I've been attending the National regularly since 1990. Not every one, but most of them. And there was things I saw this year that made me realize that without question, there has been a seismic shift in our industry over the last few years. Because if you haven't heard already, it's cool to collect sports cards again. It really is. It is really cool to collect sports cards again. To use my kids' vocabulary, our industry is trending. Our industry is trending, not just locally or nationally, but internationally as well. Not just with people in their 40s and 50s and older, but with kids all the way down the line, and not just with sports fans, but even with professional investors. Jeff, raise your hand. Guys, this is my friend Jeff Wilson from Atlanta. He is owns a tech company and invests in tech companies, but is also an investor in sports cards now. Childhood collector, he's come back to the market out of a love for sports, love for cards, and he sees the potential in this industry. And he is representative of a whole lot of others who are coming back from other industries and putting money into our industry because they see the potential in our industry. The investment mentality is blatantly on display if you walk around the National this year. I always try to spend time talking with other industry leaders, walking the floor, looking at setups, meeting with new dealers, seeing, and I am so excited. You old-timers like me, let's give a hand to all the young people who are here in the room today, because how awesome is it to see 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds coming into the industry again. This is awesome. But I walked around the room, and I saw, in multiple booths, I saw stacks and stacks of grading cards, sometimes 100 count at a time. I saw like 100 LeBron Chrome rookies in one booth with a big sign that said, "Not for sale, we're buying these." And then I walk across the room, And then I see somebody else with a stack of Giannis Prism rookies. Not for sale, we're buying these. And so, when a guy's sitting there with $100,000 worth of one card, and he's not selling any of them, there's been a shift, because people are hoarding and buying up quantities of investment quality cards. And I've tracked some of those very cards I saw at the National, that I saw people buying up. Some of them have jumped 30 to 40% since the National. In the area of basketball, these guys aren't even playing right now. So it's not based on-court performance right now. It's the fact that there are a lot of people with a lot of dollars coming to our industry. Some coming back, some coming for the first time. And it's great to see. And the reason they're coming, when you talk to investors, let me pull up my economics minor for a second. Talk to you, it's the simple law of supply and demand. They see items, whether it be wax boxes or cases, or they see individual trading cards of a limited quantity that there is far more demand for than there is supply. And so, and I'm telling you, we are still at the forefront of this. There are more and more coming. When guys like Gary Vee and others who come from outside the industry and who are promoting us to a national audience, understand there are waves and waves of customers who are still going to come flooding into our industry. It's our responsibility to treat them well and to educate them and to make them a part, of the greatest industry on the face of the earth, I believe. The other thing the investors see is they see auction houses achieving record prices on sale of items. And they see the second largest, those who don't know this year we had the second largest attendance ever at the National, most since 1991. And even earlier this year when some of the negative press hit our hobby, I had some people start asking, well, Joe, I guess you're gonna dump all your graded cards, right? And I was like, no. In fact, if you want to dump yours, I'll be glad to buy them. Because the thing is, a tiny bit of negative press does not change the fact that there are millions and millions and millions of people worldwide who are heavily invested in graded and authenticated items and who understand the fundamental importance of those aspects of our industry. And I'm just going to hop on my soapbox for a minute because somebody needs to say this about the pink elephant in the room. I'm tired of our industry being attacked from those who have no clue what they're talking about. I'm tired of people who will say things about our industry, take this much information and add a whole lot of opinion and a whole lot of slander and spread things that aren't true. And I'm tired of seeing really good people and really good manufacturers and really good service providers being unfairly attacked. And it's not right. And we as an industry need to stand up. I've read articles that say, we heard this from an anonymous source, from supposedly an insider, and we're and here's all the information. And they won't even stand up and say what their source is. That is lousy journalism. I'm a published author, and I have worked in journalism before, and there's no integrity when you do that. If you want to say something, back it up. I am an industry insider. Been a part of the industry for 30 years. And if they want to publish something, they can publish this. This industry is phenomenal. And I have dealt with thousands of people in this industry over the last 30 years. And by an overwhelming majority, in the high 90th percentile, people in our industry are good people. And they treat people with respect. And they treat people with ethical standards. And I'll put our industry up against any collectibles industry out there. And so, each of us needs to take a stand and represent your industry well, because there are plenty of positive things going on in our industry. And when one of your customers hears something negative and they bring up something, well, the so-and-so post said this, and this guy with a computer in his basement typed this about this guy. Stand up and say, well, let me tell you what's going on good in our industry. Let me tell you from somebody who actually knows what's going on. So, enough of my soapbox speech. I'll get back to this, but I just had to get that out. So, I want to talk to you again about embracing the moment, embracing the opportunities. Anybody here debating about opening up a larger location or expanding the one you've already got? I know, Steve, you are. All right. From my own perspective, I encourage you, now is the time to do that. I'll be happy to sit down with any of you and do a cost-benefit analysis and try to help you understand if it's a wise business move for you. I know for us, buying our own property was one of the, except for the investment I've made in some of my employees, it was the smartest investment I ever made in the business. Because we moved to a worse geographic location and our retail sales doubled. Because if you take care of your customers, they will come to you. Because you've got to understand, we are destination businesses. We don't have to be in the hottest strip mall. You know, they will come find you. If you do, if you take care of them, they will come back and they will tell their friends. So, you know, we don't have to pay a fortune for rent. You know, every one of you can probably tell me you could use another 500 square feet, right? I know we have 10,000 feet and it's full. You know, we could even use more already. We've only been here a year. So I heartily encourage you to consider embracing that opportunity when it comes your way. How many of you also know that Dennis and I had this talk last night about adding employees, and how many of you know that possibly adding one or two key people to take something off of you could be the best business decision you could make this year? Because I know we've got a lot of sole proprietors out there. I know what it's like to be that. And I know what it's like to add good people. And I know what it has allowed us to do in our business. You know, my business is living proof that if you keep adding people who more than pay for themselves, eventually you'll have to keep adding more people. And that's a wonderful thing because you get to be a blessing to them by providing income for them and their family, and you get to grow your business as well. That's a win-win. I know a number of you have made good profit in the industry this year. Some of you really good profit this year, and I'm happy for you. And I encourage you to take those dollars, because one of the best things you could do with them, take those dollars this calendar year, and instead of just paying a fortune in taxes, reinvest that money back into the business, find another avenue, find another opportunity, whether it's a physical move, whether it's expanding, whether it's improving something inside your store, whether it's more advertising, whether it's pouring money into social media. Find ways to reinvest your profits back into your business. You've already heard a number of ways to do that, and you'll hear plenty more today. So I encourage you to take those dollars, reinvest them into your business. You know, I get calls all the time from brokers wanting me to invest in their next big thing. And when you get those calls, I encourage you to say this: no thanks. I invest in me. I invest in my business. I invest in my industry. I actually had a broker laugh at me one time when I said, no, I put my money into sports cards. So, but the next time you get that call, direct them to your website and say, let me tell you about my next big thing. And then start talking about one of the great products one of our manufacturers is coming out with. Understand, too, that no matter how many things you're currently doing in your business, there is one more avenue out there that you've not explored. Not every one of us does every last thing, because the next thing is just around the corner. First, let's talk about buying. And I'm not talking about your allocations here. I'm talking about buying from the public. Now, I actually know a store right now, and when I call him, his answering machine says, if you're calling to sell a collection, we no longer buy anything. Seriously. You know, I've been so tempted to call, like, from a different phone and go, yes, sir, I've got a bunch of Mantle rookies. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't buy? Okay, I'll call someone else. But, you know, I'm like, how in the world, you know, like, if you want people to believe in your industry, you don't lead by saying, we don't buy anything back. You know, so we love buying collections. I would love to spend all day, every day buying collections. You know, and there are times I literally have spent an entire day doing nothing but meeting with people coming in the door with collections, because there's so much opportunity there. You get to trade something they need, cash, for something you need, cards. And I know that most of you are saying, yeah, but 90% of what comes in the door is late 80s and early 90s, and I've got plenty of that. But the other 10% might be really good. You know, I've bought some phenomenal collections just in the last year You know, I've had some tobacco collections come in, and I've had this vintage wax collection come in. And if you're not actively letting people know that you want to buy the stuff, it's not necessarily going to come in your door. So use social media, use you know, the way you promote your store, you can let people know that you are an active buyer. Because it also shows them you are a believer in this business, you're a believer in this industry, and you have no problem pouring money back into it. So that's just one area. So I encourage you to embrace the opportunities that buying can present to you. Another one, I touched on this briefly. I was an early adopter in sports card grading. We became a PSA authorized dealer in 1998, even before BGS came along. It was so early, we were so early. I don't think Adam's in the room yet, but Adam, David Adams, actually sent cards in through us to grade, believe it or not, in the late 90s. Because we were really early. Back then, you had to be a PSA dealer. You know, now his company's grown a little since then. They can handle it on their own now. You know, but we were very early in that because we saw the potential in that. Today we still represent PSA, and we gladly represent BGS as well, both for sports card grading and authentication. And we're proud to represent both of them because we believe in the importance of grading and authentication. And many of you, I know most of us all have sent cards in. I highly recommend to shop owners to be a submission center because it's a win-win. You get customers to bring things into the store. You have an opportunity to help them. You get to help them pre-screen the cards for grading. You know, it's a small profit center for you, but most of all, it's a big relational center for you because you get to build relationships with those customers. And then when their PSA 10s or their BGS 95s come back from grading, you have the first shot to get to offer to buy them. So, you know, that's a win-win all the way around. So that's one great opportunity I recommend to all of you if you have not already started using grading and authentication as a way to relate and help your customers. You know, and I was a late adopter, honestly, in the brake business. As I shared yesterday, Austin here from the front row, he kept telling me how we need to get into braking, and it took me a while, and I finally said, all right, you know, if you'll handle it and run with it. And I've been amazed at the results we've seen so far, even though we're still getting our feet wet into it. But I'm telling you, my opinion here, you know, some have said, oh, braking is just a fad, you know, it'll be gone in a couple of years, and people will move on. You know, I don't believe that for a second. I believe it's here to stay. I believe it is a phenomenal synergy for online selling and a way to move product. And I had customer after customer ask me for a year, Joe, why don't you do brakes? Why don't you do some in-store brakes? We really want to participate in it. We're going somewhere else and we're buying into their brakes. I'm like, well, if I'm losing your business over it, then I guess we better start doing it, you know? And so I highly recommend, if you have time, energy, and space to do it, if you've never done in-store brakes, it's a great way to build a relationship with your customers. It's a great way to move product, and I truly believe it's here to stay. You know, I'm still learning more and more about how to effectively use social media in our business. I know we have a presentation coming up on that, but I do know this much, that we as shop owners, we can't just sit in our stores and hope the customers will come to us. We have to go where they already are, and where they are is on social media. So we go after them. We go where they're already at and then bring them back to us. So embrace the opportunities that social media provides to you. You know, I remember at the 2002 Hawaii Trade Show, for those who were there, I remember my friend Rob Barris doing a presentation about online selling, because it was still very new to a lot of us. And I remember a shop owner, I don't remember her name, but she was adamant after that presentation and kind of got in Rob's face and said, I will never sell online. I am not going to change. You need to tell me how you can just help me sell in my store. I'm not going to change. That is not for me. I'm telling y'all, don't be that shop owner in 2020 that says, I'm not going to change. Sometimes you've got to adapt or die. You know, I've had shop owners who closed their doors and told me later, I didn't listen. I didn't adapt. I didn't make changes that were available to me. I didn't pursue the opportunities that were available to me. Pursue the opportunities that are there. You know, over the years, my company went through seasons where we bought and sold many other collectibles besides trading cards. And I know many of you did the same. We sold thousands of pods, silly bands, beanie babies, and tens of thousands of webkins. I remember in the holiday season of 2007, we were shipping over 2,000 orders a day of stuffed animals. I'm like, how did I get here to doing this, you know? But, and they lasted for a couple of years. And the thing is, that opportunity came and went, you know? And I don't know what the next thing is. And I hope, and what I'm excited about is the fact that sports cards are trending to be the next thing, you know, because people are jumping back in. And one of the awesome things, you know, a lot of times people say, well, you know, I hated that the late 80s, you know, hurt the hobby so bad, because they said, you know, people still say there was so much product printed, there was so much printed in the late 80s and the early 90s, and it was so bad for the industry. And the thing is, it all depends on your perspective, because in the late 80s and early 90s, there were millions and millions of people jumping into the sports card market. And a lot of them, and kids were very active in the market then. And the thing is, a lot of those kids are now, you know, it's 30 years later, you know, and now those kids in their late 30s and early 40s, and now they have disposable income. And a lot of them have their own kids, and they want to come back to the market. So, and a lot of them, yeah, they come in with their, I mean, we have countless ones, they come in with their collections. We're like, well, we're sorry, this stuff is kind of overprinted or it doesn't have much value. However, and we get to educate them on what's going on in the market today. So don't see those people who walk in the doors with their late 80s collection as a waste of your time. See it as an opportunity to educate them on what's going on now and help them understand the differences in the market today and then. Because a lot of them still love sports, they loved collecting as a kid, and there's a good chance we can get them back. I want you to understand one other thing, and I am about to wrap up, so my time's about up. I want you to understand the people in this, I had this talk with Bill earlier this room. The people in this room are not your competitors. You say again, the people around you, they are not your competitors. They are your co-laborers in this industry where we compete against those outside our industry who fight for our customers and our future customers' dollars and attention. The greatest thing that we can do as an industry is to learn to work together. I hope I live for the day where I see the summit house and bring every manufacturer back together. Because those were great times, and it's a great time now. And many of the other manufacturers do a great job with their conferences, but I would love to see us all back together again. And I would love to see manufacturers partner together the way that we as retailers work together. Mike Fruitman promoted our Facebook group yesterday, and he's correct. It's a phenomenal group because every day we literally link arms with each other and help each other out. We talk about product, we help each other. Somebody didn't get their case in time, so somebody ships them something. It's a great network, and that's one of the beautiful things about our industry is the way we look out for each other. And so understand that people around you are not your competitors. I'll close with this. I love this industry. I love the people in this room. This industry has been very, very good to me. You know, it's my privilege to try and help any of you I can. I would love to sit down and talk with any of you. You're welcome to email me, call me, if I can share ideas with you. And I ask all of you, encourage all of you, treat this industry, treat your peers with the respect that they deserve. And together, may we take this industry to heights we have never, ever seen before. Thank you so much, and God bless.